Hey everybody, and welcome to the second episode of Three Thoughts. Today we'll be talking about cults. I'm your first host, Bryan Kim. I run a charity called Moderate Majority that keeps veterans from going homeless. I am a candidate for Congress here in San Diego, and I am a big fan of the UFC. Up next is...
I'm Lauren Frame, and I was born and raised here in San Diego. I've only been a barista my whole life, as until recently. I am now his campaign volunteer recruiter. And
my name... Oh, shit. My bad.
Ty wasn't done
I didn't even know.
This is Ty, and he interrupts people.
Yeah, I'm Ty for Ty, and I like to interrupt people. I was summoned here, child of the one true God, and worship me. No, I'm playing. This episode is about cults, and yeah, I'm a rapper. I'm also a fundraiser. I'm also doing fundraising for Bryan Kim, and also doing like social media and whatnot. So Bryan Kim is running for Congress for the 53rd district, and so check us out. Three Thoughts.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Three Thoughts. Up first, as always, is our icebreaker with Die for Ty.
What up, everybody? So my question is, if you can go back anywhere in time, where would you go? Or would you go in the future, and why? If you say you want to go in the future, you have to explain how you think the future might be. But yeah, where and when in the past would you like to go?
Okay, so I'll start it off. It's inherently hard. I want to go to the future, and I'll tell you why. Like, if I was a white dude, I could probably pick you can pick anywhere in the past that you want to go to, and on this earth and in this timeline, history is going to hook you up, and you're going to have a place to be and a place to fit in, right? Like, as an Asian dude, there's a lot of places in history that I would not want to go to and not want to experience. And I would like to go to at least like 100 or 200 years in the future, so I can kind of see what the economy and the world and the politics are like whether global warming has caved in the earth, whether we've managed to build something more sustainable, whether there's even in 200 years a human race at all.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard being not a white dude to want to go to the past. But it's like, if I could go to the past and not have to deal with racial prejudice, I might make a different answer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, how magical are my going to the past powers? You know what I'm saying?
Just keep it simple. Time machine.
Right.
you can't just do that. Well, dang, how do you top that one? No, but I'm really glad he brought that up, because I used to answer that question differently. I wanted to go to the 50s and ride the fucking merry-go-rounds and eat popcorn and make out with some dude, like all the shit you see in the movies. But then once that thought comes across your head that I wouldn't be able to do that with my friends, I wouldn't want to go back to the 50s with Ty, because he would have to probably go to a different carnival than me.
Yeah, the carnival would suck.
So answering that question, right?
Jim Crow carnival, dude. Fuck.
Anyways, but to answer that question, no. I definitely would want to go back to the future and just see what the fuck it's like. Maybe go down my lineage or something.
That'd be dope. Like, follow your kids out, see what your descendants are doing in 200 or 300 years.
I'm really weird. Spy on people.
That'd be crazy.
Shit.
Cool to see it'd be kind of cool to see your ancestors too. Like, if you could go.
Yeah,
back,
that's what I was thinking too just now. I didn't even think about that before.
Your family.
I would want to see my spawns.
Yeah.
And it would really be some grandma type shit. Like, I'm gonna take pictures of them as an alien and fixing a spaceship and then congratulate them, but they wouldn't know I'd be there.
You could bring it back and nobody would believe you anyway. And first of all, time travel is not real. Second of all, you photoshopped that photo.
Yo, this guy's IG's whack. He's making all these fucking Photoshop pictures from the future. These are not his great grandkids.
You don't even look like yourself.
Alright, yeah, so I wouldn't go back to the past either. I think about that a lot as well. And that kind of really sucks. Like, that really puts things into perspective. Like, I can't go back to the past in the world, and really, fit in anywhere. That sucks. So, yeah, I would pick the future, too. I'm not sure how the future's gonna be. I hope it's gonna be like how I explained the planet in the earlier episode, which was like plant life coexisting with, city life if we still have that.
Yeah,
I hope everybody can like coexist and like grow shit and eat shit and do art and chill, but maybe that'd be like, I don't know, like 500 years in the future type shit. I hope it's a lot closer, but
okay. So if you could,
and following my lineage too, I was thinking about that. Like I would follow my children and my children or whatever too. But following my ancestors, it kind of that sucks too, because like I have to figure out who they are in the first place, like, which is like completely. I would have to go back in the past to figure out who they are first,
right?
And then go back in the past again, like.
Yeah. So let's say you could go back. If you could go back and watch any event in the past, like you don't necessarily have to participate, but you could see what fucking really happened. What would you go want to see?
I think
either like how or like to see the spectacle. Like there's a lot of reasons why you could want to, like, if you could see anything like as it really happened, like, and be there really, like invisibly.
The old cultures where like progression was like the biggest thing, like Egyptian culture, like old Egyptian culture, old Greek culture. Even though I would watch the Greek culture, even though I don't know, wouldn't fit in. Maybe I'm not sure with them, but like yeah, maybe those two, Egyptian, like ancient Egypt and ancient Greek, and I would try to see like what the dinosaurs were about too, like.
Yeah, dude, and like see them like alive.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Like
Just
bugs
like go back in
ass...
time and try to like discover like old mysteries, like who fucking killed Marilyn Monroe? Like that conspiracy theory, or how did you build the pyramids? Just please tell me.
Yeah,
or go watch them do it.
Just watch them do it, right? Like,
right, that'd be crazy. I'm torn between like wanting to go like watch Jesus's whole life and be like, all right, what was really up with this fool, and like kind of really figure out like what really happened and what parts of his story are legend and what parts of his story are true.
Yeah.
Or if Virgin Mary's a baby mama.
Yeah. Because I think
that would just end it all right there.
Because I think, and it would, and that's the whole point. Like, if you could really go see it and you could get the actual evidence, I think it would answer so many questions about civilization. Yeah. And it's either that or like, man, it'd be cool to see Pickett's charge at Gettysburg. Like, not necessarily to be there, but to like watch those dudes roll across the plain. Yeah, I think it'd be cool to watch John. Yeah, there's a lot of places. There's a lot of things I think it'd be cool to like watch and see, you know, like to be able to watch history like a movie. Definitely. There's a lot of places I'd like to be.
Shit, if you went back and Jesus actually walked on water, that'd like fuck you.
Right?
You're like, wait a minute. I have a time machine, but that's science.
Right?
Like,
it's like, yo, this dude's walking on water and I'm really not sure how that's going down, right? It's like, yo, so I went back in the past and it turns out, yo, he was the son of God. Like,
kidnap Jesus.
Bring Jesus back to present times and like really like study this, because I can't study this myself. Not here, not in this time.
Right?
Because I don't have the equipment. Time travel is so confusing.
Right, dude. So you come back. So you come back to the future with knowledge of Jesus, and you say, "I went into the past and saw Jesus." And you've started your own cult.
Maybe.
And that is a fantastic segue into where we're going when we come right back.
Hey.
And we're back. Cool. Welcome back to Three Thoughts. Up right now, I am going to talk about a movie called Kumare and why I think it's important to understanding cults. Cool. So Kumare is really key because it outlines like the psychological reason, like why people end up in religions or with gurus of any kind. Like, I think especially from this movie's paradigm, it's because they see something that they desire for themselves, a character trait, a way of being or thinking in that guru that they're trying to obtain. So the basic plot of Kumare is a young Indian documentarian is trying to make a movie about religion. He doesn't think it's like real, and he's trying to understand what people get from religion and why. And he says, you know, my problem wasn't with spirituality, it turns out, but with spiritual leaders. Why did we need them? I wanted to prove to others that no one is more spiritual than anyone else. Spiritual leaders are illusions, and we are the ones who decide who and what is real. So the long story short is that he starts like a new religious movement that's like kind of half yoga, half new age ideology, and half like kind of stuff he makes up, to see if people get the same benefit like from a fake religion that they get from real ones. And there's a couple things like ways he does to do that I want to highlight. Like the first big one is that he designs it specifically to appeal to any and everyone. He sets up on a beach with a sign that says Kumare, and he hires these two like young women who are yoga instructors to kind of be like his first followers and like his disciples. And it's part of that social proof, right? Like you can hype yourself, but it's much more powerful if other people are hyping you. You know what I mean? So they tell these guys who show up, like, he holds a mirror up to you, not literally metaphorically. And the other woman's like, yeah, we have the answers inside. He just helps bring it out of us. So everyone's truth is going to be different, right? And so you set them up to be primed to think that like Kumare can, like this guru guy, can tell them whatever they want to hear, because it's like, well, my truth's going to be my own. And if I hear him say something different to somebody else, it's cool, right? So it gives you, the ideology itself has a rationalization that can be applied to everything. I think the other thing, like, it's very interesting because, like, as part of his ethics, he never lies to any of them. So he, like, will just straight up tell people that it's all bullshit, but because they are primed to think that he's, like, wise, they don't realize what he's saying to them. So he'll say, like, people look at myself and see what they want to see. He's like, and then later he's talking, he's like, what is illusion, what is truth? You don't know if I am good, I am bad. You only know what you see.
No, I have a question because I saw this documentary too.
Shoot.
So, does he ever accept money from them? Because I didn't look into it past that. Like,
Yeah,
did they pay to go to his, like, fake teachings? Or
it doesn't look like I'm honestly not sure from the documentary. It doesn't look like it. It looks like he's showing up at like other yoga studios, and it's part of like, if anything, he might be helping other groups because they can say that he's showing up there. But I don't think that he's like, I think he got funding for the documentary, you know what I mean?
Right. Just had to ask.
Yeah, no worries. I'm not, yes, the answer is I'm not sure. But the big thing is like, the biggest thing that all of this contributes to is this persuasive priming, right? Like the way he dresses in the traditional yogi robes, like he plays off of people's kind of racist conceptions and racist pre-ideas of Indian people. He's like, I just have to stand, and he sounds like me, but he's like, I just have to talk like my grandmother, and he does the hello, and the whole time he does the very stereotypical Indian voice, you know what I mean? And it plays, and he embodies the social role of the Oriental guru, and he plays into what people expect to see by embodying the archetype of the Oriental guru.
So genius.
Yeah,
really.
so
great experiment.
Yeah, so just real quick, like it's Jungian archetypes. Carl Jung came up with this idea about the development of the human self, that the self like every human identity has these like the human psyche has these archetypes within it, like the ideal, like what you conceive of as the ideal man, like what you conceive of as the ideal woman, like what you conceive of as like the nemesis figure, like the exact opposite of you, right? So the Oriental guru fits into this archetype of like the wise elder, and it's like this old person who shows up bearing the wisdom of the past, who knows more than you, whose wisdom you internalize for the new age, and that's how the self develops, right? Mm-hmm. So these people look at him and they're fitting an archetype, and every single one of them over time, they express the depth of their need. Like one woman literally leaves her husband after talking to him. A guy asks him, like, what do you do if you're depressed and you feel like you have nothing to live for? And Kumare's like, what? And he's like, what do you do if you're depressed and you feel like you have nothing to live for? Like a woman tells him, I grew up with a father who sexually abused all of his kids, sexually abused us, and told us that if we told our mom, he would kill our mom. Like a guy talks about, like how he transformed his whole life, like in front of his obviously uncomfortable wife, you know what I mean? And the dark side of Kumare is that like people are attracted to cults for the same reason that they're attracted to religion or secular leaders or any good things, like they see something in that person, in that ideology, or in that religion, some trait that they want to, that you see it in, like you want to incorporate it into you, and like people who are aware of that can use that to manipulate and abuse and hurt you. Yeah. So do you agree or disagree with the idea that people need spiritual leaders? Because his whole idea is that leaders are an illusion and you don't. So do you think that that's true, and why or why not?
I don't think you need a spiritual leader.
Was that 6 minutes? Boom, I did it. All right. Sorry, I was trying really hard to keep myself and not go on a rant last time. Boom.
I wouldn't say you need a spiritual leader, right? But I think having a leader is usually healthy. You know, being able to look up to somebody and like be humble and like being taught, like that's a good trait. Being able to be taught, like a lot of people. It seems like a lot of people don't even like to be taught nowadays. Like, it's weird. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but I don't know. I don't think you need a spiritual leader. You don't really need a leader either. But I think having a leader, yeah, sufficient.
Like it can help?
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as like having a spiritual leader and one that leads your like faith or your beliefs, no. Because in the end, like, you could be believing in something that you don't wholeheartedly believe in, and you're just telling yourself you're believing in it because I'm supposed to, because my leader is telling me so, and usually there's like some type of scripture, like if you have a spiritual leader where you're probably some part of some group, so there's probably some text that like binds your guys' beliefs together. Mm-hmm. So having a spiritual leader in that way, like, could be a bad thing and not needed. But is there the perfect spiritual leader out there? No idea. Could they be great and awesome? I'm sure some people could say that, but I think you just gotta ask yourself the question, or people need to ask themselves, like, is this the person that they want to be leading them?
Yeah. So do you think the idea that the fact that he has to like become a fake spiritual leader in order to teach people this, do you think that it undermines his message that you don't need spiritual leaders? Because if he hadn't, one way to look at it is like if he didn't have the vision to do this documentary, if he didn't have like the idea to do this, then we wouldn't like have been taught this lesson. Mm-hmm. And does the fact that he's trying to teach truth with a fake religion, do you think he undermines his message by having to become a leader to teach it?
No.
Why not?
I don't think so. Just because I feel like this needed to be done, because there are a lot of people that blindly follow by faith. And it's just like this. He didn't hurt anybody's lives drastically. These people came in hurt. They wanted to be there. Usually people that I feel like, not to dip into my section, that go into cults, they're there because they want to be. And usually they have just come out of a very hard time of their life or some trials and tribulations. So with him doing this, I feel like he did help the people there, whether they liked it or not. He did help them, or help them see the bigger picture of what these groups can be like. But it was a necessity to do it so that he can reach millions of people to see how it's just an illusion.
He could have gotten them to drink poison instead. You know what I mean?
I'm sure he could have gotten them to do a lot, especially that girl who left her husband. It looked like he was the first person that she wanted to get with.
Right?
For real. Yeah. Her body language and everything. Yeah. If you watch the documentary, the woman that he was talking about, who literally left her husband right after she talked to him, really looked like that she was hoping something was going to come of that meeting rather than there.
Yeah, and actually,
it was really sad that he had
speculation.
It was really sad that It was really sad that he had to change his appearance to come off like someone that was like that. Like, I was like, fuck, like I can't do that. Like, that sucks. But like, I don't think it undermines the message. But I kind of found myself looking at the movie like, yo, these people are stupid. Like, they're fucking dumb. But then I thought about it and I was like, I'm thinking about this because I'm watching the movie. I already know that they're being tricked. So my perception is that these are fools right now, right?
Right, because you're primed to know the game.
Yeah.
But if you were primed to think that this is like an ancient, like a wise man from India.
Yo, anybody could be fooled. Anybody could be tricked. Don't think you're safe from it. Like, there are people out here that are super fucking smart that do this. And, you know, like, you have to really think about every thought you have. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the way I thought was like, that's kind of like, it's not cultish, but it's like fucking, I don't know, it was dumb. I was like, oh,
yeah, but it shows you how easy it is to like for like your average, because there's a lot of like very normal people. And one of the things I really liked is when he went and talked to like some of the other groups, like the law of attraction people, and how similar they are to him. I thought that was really funny. So, and on that note, like on the law of attraction, because one of the things he gets into is this idea that like he's grappling with this question of like who are the real gurus and who are the fake gurus, and what makes someone a real guru or a fake guru, right? Like he's like a fake guru teaching a very real thing, at least, you know, that he very much believes is real, right? So is there such a thing as like real authentic spirituality, and like why or why not?
Do you want to go first, or I can answer first? You know?
Real authentic spirituality to me.
Do you think there's like such a thing as like real spirituality?
I think if you really believe in something, then it's real. Like, I don't know. It's very complicated because it doesn't have to actually be real to me for it to be real. Like to me, it's like the lesson that it teaches.
I think it's like real in what sense? What sense is it real?
It's real like it is real. Like if you you
is
can
it real
create,
in here, or is
create
it real?
a group like with the name
real?
like right now we're in a gang. We're called the fucking Thundercats.
Yes,
we're the Thundercats. We're a
yes,
gang right now. You know what I mean? So like,
okay, cool.
what makes us a real gang? You know, like I just made this up and this is a thing, so it's real. Like it just depends on what you learn from it, and what I could say what you might have learned from what I just said is that you can make anything up. You probably already knew that too. So if you learn from it,
but if anything that you believe in hard enough is real spirituality, then doesn't that mean that there's no such thing? Because I'm like, I believe that I'm the fucking lightning god, man, and I'm the reincarnation of Thor.
Like, we can really get into this. Like, I can make it like make sense, but I don't know if we have enough time. But,
okay,
like,
but to answer your question though. To swing it off, I don't believe there's anything as real spirituality because everyone claims their thing is real.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe in the Jehovah's Witness story of that dude reading the tablets in the hat and stuff
that's
like
Mormonism,
that?
but yeah.
Or, okay.
Yeah, but no, that's exactly what it is.
Same thing. It's just like these, I'm not even like arguing with you. Like, I heard you and I feel you and I think that could be true in a sense. But as far as like, what was your question again?
It's basically, is there such a thing as real, authentic spirituality?
Well,
because like
no,
what
because it's like what you said. Like everybody has their own reality, but I mean, is it real? As in, like, is it real? Like, is it real and is it the truth? Is it fact? No, because
you can't. But it depends on. It depends on what's true, because like you can believe in a thing that implies that whatever, like we can both believe in different things and they could both be true to us, and we can just be in different dimensions at different times depending on what we believe.
What about the 2017 dimension?
There's like, but this is what I'm saying is like, but there is like a real. So I get where you're coming from, so I do think that there is a real objective reality where it's like, you know, we can agree that, like, you know, you can disagree about whether or not a thing like you can say it's like, oh, that's like, I can say this piece of paper is white, and you can be like, no, that's not white, that's another color. But there's a mathematical way to measure like the pixelation, and we can argue what we should call that, but you can't argue that that's the number that it is, right? Mm-hmm. So I think to go back to like what you're saying about, so there is like a real world, and just because people think something's real doesn't mean it is. But at the same time, if people act like something's real, doesn't that give it the isn't it functionally the same as it being real?
Yes.
Like if I kill you for God, doesn't that kind of make God real in a way?
Well, no, I mean, it makes it real that you killed me in the name of God. It doesn't mean that God's real. That's the thing. That's the whole thing. It's just like, if you're saying real, is there such thing as real spirituality? Like, it's oh my God, how do you even put this into words? I mean, the only way you can make it real is if you literally follow through with whatever the fuck your faith is. It's like a priest. Like, what if there was a priest that he was just, like, literally born into priesthood and he was just bred and trained to be a priest and he was the best priest of all the priests and he never slept with any women, he never molested any children, like he was actually like good solid dude and died good solid dude. Like maybe like he was like really like maybe you could say he was the most spiritual person you ever knew. So maybe he was a symbol of what real spirituality is. I think spirituality can be real if somebody literally is following through wholeheartedly with what they believe in.
Yeah, that's
but these cults, let's take like Amway and Worldwide, for example.
Yeah.
Also, for you guys don't know, I totally almost got sucked into this cult. So Worldwide and Amway is a cult, and don't let anybody tell you that it isn't, because they'll say that I'm wrong, but it's not true. It's true. But anyways, with them, it's not real in the fact that they're selling an idea and saying that they're gonna make you rich with purchasing these boxes of milkshakes and oatmeals and granolas, and you're gonna buy these boxes at a discounted price. So you're getting a spanking awesome deal on these boxes, and then you're gonna sell them for more money. That makes sense, right? You're gonna buy this cheaper, sell each individual thing for a lot more. Boom! Your bank account's gonna fill up with a bunch of stuff. The more you spend, the more you're gonna save. But in actuality, does that play out? No. With religion, if some people stick to the Old Testament. Hold on, I'm not finished. People stick to the Old Testament. And what if like one of your gateways into heaven, through your reality and through your religion, because you go wholeheartedly by the Old Testament, that you yourself need to sacrifice your firstborn son. Well, if you actually sacrificed your firstborn son and like stoned your wife and did all those things and you lived your life that way, I'll be like, yeah, he was pretty spiritual and pretty fucked up in that way. Like, yeah, maybe that was real spirituality, he killed his son. That's totally a symbol of how you're supposed to be. Yeah, that's real. Does that answer your question?
I was gonna say, that's how you know it's a good question is we don't know if we got to the answer. And we will be back with Lauren in just a moment.
There is no answer.
Hey. Cool. Welcome back to Three Thoughts. Finishing up on cults will be Lauren talking about why people join them and more.
All right. So my section is who joins a cult. Now, when you think of cults, some might think of people in hoods carrying pitchforks and gathering in circles to perform mysterious rituals that has nothing to do with, or that has everything to do with whatever they believe in. But today, the modern day cult looks a little different. They are the Masons, they are the Buddha Fielders, it is Amway and Herbalife, and possibly a yoga studio down the street. So, why do people join the Masons and the Rotarians or a political party? Because of what they offer. It's going to be the friendship, the connections, identity, an opportunity to make a contribution. And those could usually be the same motives as joining a club or a church or a sports team and a new friend circle. So to kind of tie into the movie Kumare that Bryan was talking about, there was the people in the group, and there was a certain section of the movie where they go through all the people that were there. Like there's this guy named Greg, and he saw the simple life. And Stuart, he was a retired salesman, and he wanted to connect with people. Molly, she seemed like a girl that a lot of people were telling her what to do, and she just didn't want to be doing it. So all these people came from like different backgrounds, and they're at a certain point in their life, and they probably had some instability. So people who want to join these groups, they're unstable, emotionally unstable,
And like looking for guidance.
Right? They
Yeah.
have these voids and they're confused. And so when you go to this group that is very organized, it's beautiful looking. It could be something like a church or a guru or just a group of people that are splashing in a lake singing songs and they look like they're doing normal stuff. But if you unveil the illusion of what everything is at the surface and go to their core principles, you'll usually find that they're taking a lot of your money away. Like as far as like what the Buddha Fielders did. There's this guy named Michael, or also known as Andreas, or also known as Rizeki. He changed his name a lot because he was a guy that was letting younger people sleep in his house and paid them for therapy sessions, because that's what he called them, but he was actually raping them and molesting them.
Oh, so he's
And-
like sexual healing. Oh, but it's like not consent. Oh, that's fucked up.
Right,
dude.
it's all about the words you
Oh.
use. They're selling this, every cult is selling an idea, but if you actually are there and seeing what is actually happening in reality, it's something completely different. And so you would think like, well, why did these people stay in cults? I mean, if they're so awful, if they're being raped and they don't, they lose their family and friends, they don't have any money anymore and they don't have any things and they're being raped, it comes down to hypnosis, really. A lot of the chants and the mantras, whatever, if it's praising Jesus Christ or if it's saying all these yogi, like, mantra sayings,
Chanting Kumare's name.
it's all this repetition, like the ticking clock and the swinging and it's all the vibes. And so what you need to realize about cults is that no matter what kind it is, there's always one thing and it's the same. There's a follower and there's a leader. And the leader has the power of manipulation, which in actuality is hypnosis, and tricking the follower into thinking this circle, and this is like the circle I'm using for cults, is where I'm supposed to be. And anyone outside my circle telling me I shouldn't leave doesn't want my happiness, or they're jealous of my circle and trying to attack my circle. And because that is exactly what people are trained to do when they're joining cults. And the cult leaders and members want the utmost best for you, right? And they care about you, and you've done so much for them, and there's this bond that's been created, and that even the thought of the cult follower leaving could make that person, he or she, whoever it may be, stay even longer because they've lost so much already after joining the cult. It's literally like you get sucked in, and then it's all under hypnosis. Like literally, like the leader can hypnotize, whether they know that they're doing that or not, but a lot of them know what they're doing, and they do it very, very well, and they do make money off of people, and that's when it comes down into a business. Just why do people join them? Usually lonely people, or maybe it could be one of us, we don't know, but everybody has a soft spot, right, where they can have a void filled. No way. I talked an awful lot. Do you guys have anything that you need to?
No.
Anything you disagree with? Like,
No, I think
did
no.
I say anything that just wasn't
pretty much-
true?
No, that was really accurate.
Everything I
cool.
know about cults is pretty much the same thing. Like, I like what you said about like if anyone tries to get you to leave, they don't care about your happiness, and like.
And think of how
That's-
impactful that is.
Yeah.
And that's a really common tactic that a lot of like those religious movements use, where it's like, the people outside the circle, they just don't understand because they're not. And that's like the value of like the mysticism, like we were talking about earlier, and like the layers of knowledge, you know what I mean? I really like this quote here from Leslie Kaminoff. If the individual is wounded and has cracks in their life,
those wounds offer entry points, and they are more easily exposed, exploited, and susceptible than someone else. So if someone is lonely, depressed, and frustrated, they're more open to someone saying, I have an answer. And he's like, none of this should be used to blame the victim, he stresses, adding, teachers, psychologists, and yoga instructors have a responsibility not to abuse their position. And you look at how even this yoga teacher is aware that, like, even doing something as simple as teaching yoga can very quickly become, like, people get attached to you and they're like, well, you have the answers, like, how can I be like you and get your answers? And it's like...
Exactly. And that's, and probably, I mean, like 5 years ago in San Diego, there was kind of this yoga movement like that hit the streets of like North Park and El Cajon and Rancho San Diego, where just a bunch of yoga studios started popping up everywhere. And I found this article yesterday that really made me laugh because it was called the Yoga Cultish Movement. And it's weird because then reading about all of this, there's this thing that's called guru faking, which is sort of a new business nowadays. And we just need to make sure that you watch our podcast and be aware.
Guru, right?
Just be aware. You're welcome.
Right,
We're
trust
saving
us.
your ass and you don't even know it yet.
We're the ones who have the truth. Trust us, don't trust them. That's
Join
our
our
main
cult.
message. The idea of like guru faking as a business, though, you know what I mean? Like, it comes back to that question of like, what makes a guru fake or real? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because one of the things I thought was really interesting about Kumare is when that woman's talking to him about like leaving her husband, he's like, they do that voiceover where he's like, I didn't know what I should say. Would a real guru like tell her to leave her husband and go like be her own person? Like, I wanted to tell her to stay and to try to work things out, but like I didn't know anything about their relationship, and who am I to do this? And it's like, just like hearing him say it, it's like it takes a scary person to have somebody show up and be like, and just be like, you know what?
Let me tell you what I know is best for you. You know what I mean? You should leave your husband and like follow me to the promised land.
Mm-hmm. I think it's kind of sucky. Like, all right, so I'm gonna bring this back up. Kumare had to change his like how he looks and blah blah. So like, a lot of this stuff that people are selling you can get from like friends and stuff. But you look at them like just this type of person. You're not looking at them like a guru, and like you're going out to buy this thing that you're essentially getting for free, like from like your community or your friends or family. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's when hypnosis comes in. It's because, with Amway, how they suckered you in was like, because our friend first as far as Amway goes, they tell this person to go and get your friends into it. So you're already friends with somebody, and there's already this level of trust, first off. And then, second, they're supposed to make this seem so exciting without telling you what it is. Now, who's a fucking curious cat and just wants to be like, ooh, that sounds so good, and I don't even know what it is, and I just want to see it, because
What do you mean I could triple my income working from home part-time?
And when they go, this can be your gateway to financial freedom. How good does that sound? Like, how good does financial freedom sound? It doesn't mean you're going to be a millionaire. It means you're going to be free.
And you won't have to worry about
at
money
all
anymore.
But see, then when they tell you that, they go, financial freedom. Like, doesn't that sound nice? Like, doesn't that sound, like, so good? Mm-hmm. The clapping thing is a hypnosis thing. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, that's probably not good with the microphone. You told me not to do that. But you understand? Where it's just like, it's crazy.
Yeah,
I mean, all they're doing
thing.
is telling you words, but not only that, but you'll make more money, and you'll just be going up. Mm-hmm. And they do the hand thing, and then your downline is just gonna make you more money, and then you're just gonna keep climbing. Climbing up, climbing down doesn't matter. You're safe because you're on the ladder.
Well, you look at the economic changes that kind of precede this like guru faking, right? And just like you were talking about Amway, and it's kind of like it's a different kind of cult and a different kind of like ultimately like a scale. Because one of the big things about like, so I just had this thought, like what separates a real guru from a fake guru is that real gurus are trying to help people become happier and more fulfilled. and fake gurus are and more independent, and fake gurus are trying to make people become less happy, less fulfilled, and have their happiness more and more dependent, and their financial success dependent on the guru, right?
The gurus are looking out for self-gain, whether
fake
it's
gurus
sex,
are looking out
money.
Fake gurus are looking out for self-gain.
Yeah,
That's
and
complicated though, too.
And this is what I was gonna say though, is like under capitalism, it's why you see this proliferation of the fake gurus, because Steve always says this, and he's like a very capitalist person. He always goes, the real problem with capitalism is that there's a lot of profit in ripping off people dumber than you. And that's what Amway and I think a lot of these like guru faking people are doing, is they're ripping off people who are weak and sad and depressed under capitalism, and like they're vulnerable, and they're vulnerable because the system keeps them vulnerable. So these people find a way to get ahead under capitalism by peddling religion. And because I don't know, I wanted to ask you guys if you think that like what degree the profit motive undermines the idea of real spirituality, you know what I mean? And like kind of contributes to people getting into these cults, you know, like the system we live in. I don't know.
So, go ahead.
Yeah.
I think it's really hard for a person to assume how God might make the perfect person, right? If they believe in the God. So it doesn't really to them much matter. It doesn't really matter actually at all if this person is bad or good. Like, he's going to gain followers just based on being himself, because God is like it's everyone's imagination. Like, it's how you view the perfect person. So there are going to be people who view everyone as perfect, you know? Start your own cult is basically the the message here, okay? Like, stop joining.
Be your own leader, and be the leader and follower of your own cult. Well, you know, that's what Nietzsche said, right? Like, so that's Nietzsche's whole idea, and thus spoke Zarathustra, is like, if God's dead, what are you supposed to do? And he's like, what the Superman does is not like be better, faster, smarter than everybody else. Like, the Superman is someone who creates their own values and creates their own system of being, not tied to any tradition or society. Like, they make their own rules and their own. It's essentially like they build their own morality as they like go through life. And, you know, I don't know, I personally think he misses the ways in which, like, what we value is created by our experiences through society. But I get where you're, but, like, that's kind of the idea, is, like, you know, you gotta make your own cult of you. Yeah. Even if that's, like, terrifying. There's, you know? There's a certain degree to which, like, communism is kind of like the political cult of the workers, just, like, so, like, capitalism is, like, the political cult of money. You know what I mean?
Like, come up with your own ideas, and if you're gonna buy an idea that someone's selling you, make sure it's a good idea.
Right?
You know? I guess. I don't know.
Right?
My cult.
Communism.
And that's just, yeah, right? Like, unless, like,
communism will win. What did you say?
Oh, I said in my cult, I'd have a bunch of Laurens. Just tons and tons of Laurens.
Right? Make sure and create the world in your own image, and if you can't do that, literally make the world lots of views.
Have a bunch of babies out there and make an army of them.
Have a bunch of babies. We'll be right back.
Hey.
Cool, everybody. So thanks for watching the second episode of Three Thoughts. Tune in next time when we will be talking about the porn industry. If you like our show, definitely go to our Patreon and support us at whatever level you can. And hopefully we'll be able to give you a shout out on the show. So this has been Bryan.
Lauren.
Die for Ty.
With Three Thoughts, signing out. Have a good day.
Share. Support.